Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the latest hiring hacks. My name is Mike Minnis of 2M Employment Solutions and 2M Legal. And this is the second in our series of hiring hacks, which the aim of which is to help you as an employer to improve your recruitment process, your hiring process. So welcome. I'll just talk for a few moments just while people are entering, but if anybody wants to say hello in the comments. We are across multi-platforms for the first time today. Last week we launched a bit of a soft launch just to LinkedIn, but we are also on YouTube and Facebook. So if anyone could pop a little hello or whatever they'd like in the comments, just so I can confirm that they are working, that would be amazing. We do have people signed up as well, not just from the UK today. We also have people signed up from the States and also in Asia, in India in particular. A few people from there. So great to welcome you. You could also pop in the comments, perhaps maybe where you're watching from. That'd be amazing. So if there is any comments, if anybody has any questions, the idea of today is to be like as the name suggests, it's a Q&A. So if you have any questions or challenges currently in your business, then it would be great to actually discuss those and actually have some live examples. If we don't, then that's perfectly fine. I do have a topic that I can talk about that I'm hoping will give you some processes to work through within your business. So it is the 1st of December today, and so I'll just give you a quick preview. I've gone with the Christmas jumper. I'm a big fan of the Christmas season, and do tend to keep it till the 1st of December though. No Mariah Carey or Michael Bublé until the 1st of December. So, but we're all guns blazing now in our household. So let me know in the comments, what your thoughts are, what your plans are for Christmas, and whether you have any events coming up, Christmas parties, anything like that. Now, as there's no questions come in as yet, we will crack on. So last week, on the first hiring hacks, we spoke about last week about the 4 areas of your recruitment process. And the first thing you need to do to be able to find the gaps or to be able to fix the gaps in your process is to establish exactly where the gaps are and where you are as a business and as individuals within your process, whether you're kind of struggling, needing urgent attention, whether you're getting by, or whether you're actually a recruitment superstar. I won't go through that again, but if anybody wants to know the details on that, that's perfectly fine. But the 4 areas in your recruitment process are as follows. So the most common one that people think of when they're thinking of recruiting is the sourcing process. Where do I find my talent? Where do I find people for my business? And that's what most people think of when they think of recruiting and hiring. But on top of that, you've also got the rest of your process where there could be gaps are within the interview process. And for me, the interview process starts from the moment you invite that person to interview. It's not just about the actual interview itself. It's the whole process from the moment you invite somebody, because it's about touch points. Touch points with your business is what wins over the best talent, and making sure that each one of those touch points is the best that it can be. Now, the best that it can be depends on your industry. It depends on the sort of people you're looking to recruit, and it depends on your business as well, the sort of people that you're looking for. So there's the sourcing process, there's the interview process, there's also onboarding. Now, again, for me, onboarding starts the moment that you offer somebody a job. So the interview process has gone through, and the moment you want to get to the stage where you're offering somebody a job, that's when the onboarding process starts. It's not the moment they start with your business. It's not their first day. So, and I'm not sure how other people feel about this, but for me, it starts from the very first moment that somebody that you offer somebody the job. That's when the onboarding process, and it obviously runs through until they're in that job and actually up to speed. And that could be 3 months in, 6 months in, dependent on the actual industry, again, that you work in, the business that you are. So the onboarding process, so we've got the sourcing, interviewing, onboarding, and then finally retention, retaining staff. Now, some people will say this isn't part of the recruitment process. I personally believe it is, and the reason being is that if you retain more staff, you generally need to recruit less. So I think it's quite an important part of the recruitment process. Now, last week we spoke about the sourcing. I gave you a process to help you proactively source candidates, particularly for those difficult to find roles. Today, we're going to talk more about sourcing. Firstly, I just need to kind of let you know I do have a bit of a cough, so apologies. I may go on mute for a while every now and then and just clear my throat. So I'm just going to do that now. Hopefully, that's not going to cause too much of an issue throughout the webinar. But let's continue. So as I was saying, we talked last week about a process for proactively sourcing candidates, building a talent pool for your business, for your recruitment process. Now, we're going to continue talking about sourcing today. Like I say, unless anybody has any specific questions about their own process, any particular challenges that you'd like to discuss, nothing's come in as yet, so I will continue. Now, what we're going to look at today, so last week was proactive. There's other proactive ways that you can source for your business as well, but that was one process that I gave you, which, if executed correctly, should be around about 30 minutes approximately of your day on a daily basis, and it's going to massively improve your workflow. We will come back to that another time, but for now we're going to talk about reactive. And reactive recruitment generally comes down to advertising. So we're going to talk about advertising your jobs. So I'm just going to share my screen here. So firstly, when advertising jobs, why are you advertising jobs? As we say, it's a reactive need. And so the primary reason for advertising your jobs will be to attract candidates to your roles. You'll be looking to reduce your time to hire because you have this immediate need. You want to get somebody on board by XYZ time. And so you're looking to reduce that time to hire by going out and reactively approaching the marketplace. Now, it's a good opportunity for you to raise your employer profile as well. And we'll talk about that in just a moment with regards to how to advertise your jobs. And then finally, advertising your vacancies is a great way of building a talent pipeline. Now, if anybody, I'm going to discuss something with regards to building a talent pipeline. So when you advertise a job, let's say, for example, you have 15 people apply for the role, of which you bring 5 to interview, and you've got 3 great candidates. You offer the position to the first candidate, to the best candidate, and that candidate accepts. Now, how many people here, just by a show of Y or N or yes or no in the comments, would actually then use that information to build a talent pipeline? And what I mean by that is obviously keeping in mind GDPR compliance, storing the data of your second, third choice candidates. Excuse me one moment. So storing the data of those second and third choice applicants, or maybe people who have applied for the role but weren't necessarily right for this role, but could be good for your business in a different position or a different area, just maybe not the one that they've applied for. So storing the data of these people, and then when these new positions come available, that these second and third choice candidates or alternative candidates are available, how many people would then actually go and contact those people first? Like I say, storing their data needs to be done GDPR compliant first, but it's a great way to save money on then advertising the job again. But B, you've got somebody who's already shown an interest, you've already interviewed, you know them, so why not reach out to these people first? Again, building that talent pipeline. We talked last week about the proactive side of things. This can add to that talent pipeline, but it's an internal database, applicant tracking system, whatever it is that you use, where you're storing this information. So these are the reasons why we advertise our jobs: track candidates, reduce time to hire, raise your employer profile, and build a talent pipeline. But the key thing is how you advertise your job. So common ways, and what I would say, and I am going to be critical here, common mistakes that I see people advertising is just taking a job description and popping that out onto a job board or into an advert somewhere. A job description is a job description. You'll generally have a lot more information than you would need on a than you would on a job advert. It's the equivalent of, if you think, when you're in the cinema and you're watching, you're going to watch a film, and they show you the trailers of appropriate similar sort of films. And the purpose of that is, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to go, well, that looks amazing, I'm going to go along and see that. Now, that is an advert for that film. By sending a job description, what the equivalent of that is doing is that you're sending them the transcript or the script of the whole film and saying, look at this film. This is what it's all about. This is the start, and maybe sending the script up to the halfway point, perhaps, so you don't give away the whole thing. So, but you're sending them the whole thing, and it's just, okay, well, this isn't grabbing my attention. This is just a whole bunch of words and tasks and duties that I'm gonna have to perform. Similarly, if you're advertising a computer, if you just put the tech spec of a computer, people aren't going to be interested. But if you put SSD drive, and the reason why it's got an SSD drive is because it accesses your information quicker. It has high memory, which means you can perform more tasks. If you just put high memory, it's like, so what? So think about it from a so what perspective. You do this when you're advertising your products. You do it when you're advertising your services. You should do the same when you're advertising your jobs. No job description. Now, the second part of this is copy and pasting. If you're just copy and pasting old adverts, that also, to me, is bad practice, because things move on. They need to be updated. You need to be updating and putting new ones out each time. The amount of tools that are available to do this nowadays, by the way, there's multitude of tools to be able to help that are designed to help you write job adverts. And a lot of them will be in a lot of the applicant tracking systems that you have nowadays. So make sure you're advertising jobs, fresh jobs, and not just putting out details of a job description. So what we're going to talk about now is how to write better job adverts. There's a lot of competition out there. You know, there's a lot of competition in the marketplace for the top talent. And as we said earlier, it's a good chance to display your employer brand. And so if your employer brand is a job description, then what does that say about your brand? It just says that you're not really focusing too much on attracting the right talent to your business. So this is an overview of what you must have in your advert. In your advert, when you're going out looking for new talent, and it's irrespective of where that talent is, whether it's entry level or whether it's senior executive. Always think about this when you're writing your job ad. So firstly, sounds very, very simple, but think about the job title. Is the job title that you're using searchable? Now, what you want, for example, is short, snappy. So let's look at a typical role, which might be a sales executive. Now, a sales executive would be a good term to use as a job title. If your job title that you actually use is business to business sales executive, now that's going to be less searchable. Although you've got the term sales executive in there, business to business will actually downgrade that with a lot of job boards, depending on where you're advertising it, but it will downgrade that. Have the words business to business within your advert body, but not in your job title. It needs to be more concise and searchable. Look at the sort of terms that are being searched, depending on where you're advertising the job. But if it's just on your own website, just search within Google for jobs and put in business to business or sales executive. See how many responses you get. Something like sales executive will get a lot more responses than business to business sales executive. Okay, so think about the job title, make sure it's searchable. Now, secondly, structuring your advert. What a typical advert would look like, and even now, even in these days of candidate-centric days, we look after our people. We make work pleasant for them. We think about work-life balance. We think about flexibility and all these things and great benefits. So let's do the same with our adverts and make it candidate-centric. What a typical advert looks like is job title, a little bit of information about it, and then we are XYZ company. This is what we do. This is what we're all about. These are the awards that we've won. We're currently looking for XYZ person who does this, and that we want them to do this, 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 and this. What they must have is XYZ qualifications, XYZ experience, blah, blah, blah. Ability to do this, ability to do that. Now, and then right at the very end, what you'll have is, in return, you'll receive a generous benefit, a generous salary package, a generous benefit package, etc., etc. And so the candidate part, the bit that's all about the applicant, is right at the bottom. It's not about that. What you want to be thinking is flip that completely on its head. So let's start with candidate. Who are we looking for? Why are we looking for that person? What sort of person has been successful in our business? How do we attract them? Okay, so let's talk about that. Are you a blah, 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 blah? Are you looking for a company that will reward you for X, Y, Z? Are you looking to progress your career quickly with a renowned brand or a market leader? So you're still telling a little bit about yourself, but you're putting it in a way that's beneficial to the candidate. So let's make it candidate centric. And what you really want to do here is, like I say, flip on its head. So the first part is all about the candidate. Again, think about that movie trailer. They put all the best bits into the movie trailer, don't they? So what's all the best bits about working for your company? Pop that into there, and let's talk about why you're a great company to work for. 60-40 of your content in the body of your advert wants to be about what you're looking for, why a candidate should work for you, why an applicant should work for you, why you're a great fit for them. Because that's what people want to know nowadays. It's all about, I put in there WIIFM. It's kind of a little bit of a sales term, but it means what's in it for me. And that's what people are thinking nowadays. What is in it for me? This is how you get the best talent, by focusing on what is in it for me. So once you've done that, once you put your advert together, you then got to think about the SEO side of things. Most adverts, there's very few. When I started out in recruitment, you would have a lot of advertising in trade press, or in a local press, or even in press in general, just printed advert. Nowadays, the vast majority is online. So it doesn't matter whether you're putting it on your own website, whether you're putting it on LinkedIn, whether you're putting it on one of the job boards or one of the industry specific. Make sure it's optimized. So going through, looking at what are the keywords within here that I really want to focus on. If you've got a marketing team, they'll be able to help you with this. And that sounds strange, bringing in a marketing team on a recruitment project, but actually a lot of finding the top talent now is marketing linked, because you want to market your company in a way, same as you do with your product brand or your service brand. This is your employer brand, and you need to SEO it. Now, be concise. Less than 500 words are put on there. That's the ideal. You want to have less than 500 words. If you've got a big old essay about what your role includes, most people aren't going to read it for a start. They're going to read the top part, and if they're interested, they're going to continue. If they're not interested, they're going to move on elsewhere. There's a phrase that people use online, and it's I've got to get this right now because I've not written it down foolishly, but it's DRTL. Some of you will know what DRTL means. It's a phrase where people will throw back DRTL. Didn't read too long. It's what it means. Now, what you don't want, now ultimately applicants, I'm going to send that to you and say, oh, I didn't apply for your job because DRTL. But what they're just going to do is they're going to move on and they're going to apply for your competitors' jobs. So let's think about, what do you actually need in that advert? It doesn't have to be. This is not a job description. It is not a contract. You want to be telling them about the benefits of the role, why they should be applying for the role, why you're a great company to work for, a great organization to work for, some of the fantastic things that you do, and a bit about what you're looking for from them. So make it concise. Ideally, less than 500 words. There is research, and I don't have that research to hand, so I will bring this along next time. But it states about the number of applications that drop out due to adverts being too long, or how many more applicants actually apply for more concise adverts. So think about how long your advert is and how long it needs to be. There's some very, very technical roles that do need to have a little bit more information, and fair enough. That's absolutely fine. For the majority, no more than 500 words. And then finally, let's have a clear call to action. How do people apply for your role? And then what is the process for them applying for your role? Do you need somebody to fill out an application form? Do you really need somebody? Now, again, I know there's some industries that, due to law, they do need that. But does it need to be done now? Because what you want to do is you want to capture that candidate, and you want them to have a nice, easy candidate process. The easier the candidate process, the more likely it is that they're going to continue with the process and not drop out partway through. Talking of dropping out partway through, if you are advertising on job boards, there is a tendency now, a lot of people will have their own applicant tracking system, in-house applicant tracking system, or an off-the-shelf one. And what you'll do is you'll put a link in your job board advert to take them to your applicant tracking system. If you are doing that, I would strongly recommend against that. And the reason for that is some of the job boards, depending on the job board, but I know a couple of job boards that say there's a more than 50% drop-off rate once somebody leaves their site and actually applies via an employer's or a recruiter's direct site. More than 50%. So you're missing out on more than 50% of your candidates. Even if you're redirecting them to your own site at a later date, just get them to apply with their CV. You've then got their data, which you can then follow up if you've not actually seen their completed application. So think about that process of when they apply, what do they then do from that application process through to when it is received by yourself. So there you have it. Those are the 5 key elements of your job advert. A searchable job title, a candidate-centric advert, make it SEO optimized, less than 500 words, nice and concise, and have a clear call to action and a nice, smooth application process for that candidate journey. Firstly, is there any questions with regards to any of that? I'm not seeing anything come through as yet. I'm not sure whether the messaging is working on all sites, but there's no questions as yet. But does anybody have any questions with regards to that? It would seem not. So we'll continue. So add this in with your. So I'm just going to remove that from my screen. So if you add this process and think about how you're writing your job adverts, putting together an advert that is focused towards your ideal applicant, what the person that you want to actually apply for your role, making it about them, making it about why you're a great employer. So not only is that going to attract the candidates, as we talked about at the beginning, it's going to reduce your time to hire because you're going to get better quality applicants to apply in the first place. It is going to boost your employer brand because you're displaying a brand that is focused towards your employees. And it's also going to help you build that talent pipeline because you're going to have more people apply, better quality of people apply, because the advert is focused on them and their needs rather than you as a business and your needs. Of course, you've got to consider that, but the majority of the focus needs to be on the person that you want to attract. And if you're struggling, if you are putting out adverts and you're struggling to get a response to your adverts, then that would be one of the reasons why you need to take a step back. Either do it yourself if you are involved in writing the adverts, or ask somebody else just to appraise your adverts. If your advert looks like a list of bullet points, then there's probably something in there that needs to be amended. Your advert should be easy to read, should be concise, and it should be focused towards the person you want to attract. So combine that, the reactive advertising side of things, to your proactive work that you've been doing, that you picked up from last week. And what you'll have is you'll have a combination of a process that is going to help you reduce your time to hire massively, but also give you a much bigger talent pool to choose from. What I would also do is, you've been nurturing this candidate talent pool since let's say 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, and you've now got yourself 75, 150, 200 people in your candidate talent pool. The first place your advert must go is to them. So let's pop together this advert, make it look great, brand it, have it focused towards them, and get yourself into LinkedIn. You've got these connections now, 200 new connections that you've been nurturing, sending them great information about you and your company, and then pop it out to them and say, look, we're now hiring. Is this something you're interested in? If it is, again, clear call to action. Let's chat. Let's move this forward. So there you have it. We still haven't got any questions come in. So the Q&A is more of a presentation from me, but that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to do that. Hope you got something out of this. Hope this has helped you improve your recruitment process. Let's just go back again. It's going back, looking at your process, thinking about the sourcing, the interviewing, the onboarding process, and how you're retaining people. If you've got a high attrition rate, then maybe you need to look at what's happening within your business and why people are leaving and moving elsewhere. So we've talked twice now about the sourcing process. The next Q&A will be in 2 weeks' time, which I believe is the 15th of December. Then there are a bit of a break. We'll be back again in the new year. But thank you very much for attending. If there's no questions at all, then I've been Mike Minnis. This is 2M Employment Solutions and 2M Legal. Thank you very much. I'll see you at the next Hiring Hacks Q&A.